Okay, in this problem, we want to convert the mixed fractions to an improper fraction in lowest terms. And so for this right here, we have 5 space 1/3. This is essentially saying 5 plus 1/3. Then we have plus 1/4. And so whenever we do addition and subtraction, what we want to do is get a common denominator. And so the common denominator for 3 and 4 would be 12. So we can say, I'll do it here, 5 plus, so we would have 4 divided by 12 plus 3 divided by 12. This is because if we divide by 4 for this, we would get 1. And if we divide by 4 for this, we get 3, so 1/3. Likewise, if we divide by 3, we would get 1. And if we divide 12 by 3, we get 4. And so we still don't have a common denominator because 5, we just have 5. So we have to do the same thing for 5. So if we multiply by 12, we would get 60 divided by 12. So now we have a common denominator going for us. And so now we simply need to add. So we would get 60 plus 4 is 64. 64 plus 3 is 67 for the numerator. And for addition and subtraction, it's going to be our common denominator, so 12. And so this is the answer for this question, 67 divided by 12. And now we'll do 1/3 minus 1/4. So same thing as this, we get a common denominator. So we said that 1/3, we already said it was going to be 4 over 12 for a common denominator of 12 minus 3 over 12 for 1/4. Simply do 4 minus 3 is going to give us 1. The denominator stays the same, so 12. And so this is this answer. And now for multiplication, we don't simply do a common denominator. It's actually a little different. So we can do, we multiply the numerator by the numerator and we divide the denominator by the denominator. So we would get 1 times 1. So actually, multiply the numerator of each one, and we divide by the denominator where we multiply both. So we get 5 times 3. So 1 times 1 divided by 5 times 3. And so what we're going to get here is 1 divided by 15 for this answer. And so now we do division. Division, there's one more step, but it's similar to multiplication. So we would get -9 over 8. And what we want to do is actually change the division into multiplication. And so what we're going to do is, instead of divide, we multiply. But since we're going to multiply, we don't do 3/5. Instead, we do the reciprocal. So that's going to be a 5/3. Simply, you just switch it. So 3/5 would be a 5/3. And just to make our lives a little easier, we can simplify it a little bit. So we have -9 for this numerator and 3 for this denominator. Instead, we can say that this would be 1 and that this would be 3. And so just like what we did for multiplication, we multiply the numerator with each other. So we would get -3 times 5 is -15. Divided by 8 times 1 is 8. And so this is this answer. And just to recap, so for addition and subtraction, what we want to do first is get a common denominator. And for multiplication, we multiply the numerator by the numerator and we divide, would be the denominator times the other denominator. And that's pretty much it. And actually, one more thing. Another point is for division, you would want to, instead of dividing, you may want to do the reciprocal, multiply by the reciprocal. So instead of 3/5, we multiply by 5/3. And that's pretty much it.